Morning, Dan. How are you doing today?
I'm doing terrific, Bill. How about yourself?
Great. Well, it's October. The weather's still okay. The Badgers are still looking good. Packers, who cares? And real estate, very interesting.
It is. It's a very interesting time in real estate, and we got a lot of fun things to talk about today, and hopefully touch on a lot of topics everybody's guessing about out there.
And what would one of those be?
Well, the market's changed so much. Just every week it seems like it's something different, whether that's interest rates going up and down, the foreclosure market, new construction. Everybody's kind of got a question mark out there. And hopefully we'll be able to talk a little bit about what those questions are.
Now, this is such a period of drifting that when the market tanked 3 years ago, most of us figured out, yeah, it's going to tank. And okay, we'll suffer through it and we can come back, and then there'll be some great bargains out there, and people can make some decisions, and everything will be hunky-dory rosy. Well, it hasn't happened yet, so why do you think that is?
Well, there's so many moving parts to the marketplace right now, and I was holding a conversation with somebody the other day who had been in real estate in the 80s when interest rates got really high, and he said, back then we figured it out. The interest rates changed, they were really high, we knew what we were dealing with. The market right now, so many things are changing, there's so many moving parts, that's one of the big areas that everybody's so unsure. The consumer confidence is low because of the market trends. We're dealing with some unemployment issues here, obviously, throughout the state and throughout the entire country. We're dealing with interest rates. We keep saying they're going down or going up. They go down. It's just there's a lot of moving parts we're unsure about. And I think that's what's causing some confusion, because buyers right now are going, is it the right time to buy? Should I buy now? Should I buy a month down the road? Should I buy 2 weeks down the road? And there's just a lot of questions out there. But there's also a lot of opportunities. And I think that's one of the big things that we keep talking about, and you and I have had many conversations about, is what are those opportunities? How do you go after them? How do you attack them? And how do I come out great in this whole thing?
Well, no matter what sort of commitment you're hoping people will make, be it in a relationship or in buying a home or whatever, the two most important things are, one, a sense of urgency, and two, what's called the takeaway clause. Like, if I don't do this, then I'm going to suffer. I'm going to have a penalty.
Right.
And in this housing market, the buyers en masse have said to themselves, well, I really don't have any sense of urgency because there's really nothing to lose if I wait.
Well, I think you're right, but from the standpoint of, if I'm looking at this, especially if I'm in a rental situation, I mean, we've talked about this countless times, is, if I'm in a renting scenario and I want to be in a long-term situation of where I'm going to live, buying a house or buying a condo, whatever that might be, is still an excellent decision. And a lot of people think about, well, should I wait? Am I getting the best deal? But sometimes sitting in your current situation and being stagnant, not taking advantage of the great rates right now, not taking advantage of the great purchase price, that's the worst decision, is just being stagnant.
Clearly. And again, it goes beyond real estate, but it is very difficult for any of us to make a decision when we're not pressed against the wall to make it, when we don't have a fear of loss, or we see this monster gain sitting right there, and there's no particular time element. Like, if we're in an okay whatever we are in, okay housing, okay job, okay whatever, then that whole sense of urgency to get the heck out of there and do something else is lacking. And I really sense that's what's going on in our real estate market.
So, I mean, you've seen this, I've seen it. If you were talking to somebody who was a first-time home buyer, let's just focus on that for 2 seconds. If I was a first-time home buyer renting right now, I was happy with where I was living, and I wanted to make a decision. I mean, what would you talk to that person about? What would you tell them about?
First of all, I'd ask for more than 2 seconds. I'll try in 90 seconds.
Go for it.
Well, with anybody, it's like, housing is such a large decision that it's not our job as realtors to convince people to do something they don't want to do. So if someone really truly is open-minded, or is a little bit skeptical or cynical about what's going on, or is truly trying to make a decision as opposed to rationalize why they're doing whatever they're doing, buying or not buying, then there's lots of things to talk about. And one of them is, why before the last 10 years did people buy homes in America? Why for the last 150 years have people bought homes in America, as opposed to the last 10 years when there's been this super boom investment and people are living off the equity in the house and planning on their retirement based on their wonderful appreciation because they're so clever in buying whatever house they bought.
Right.
And prior to that, the real reason for Americans buying homes was the American dream. Like, I own this place. I can put up a fence. My neighbors allow me to. I can have my dog. I can paint it whatever color I want. I don't have to worry about a security deposit. You can be whatever it is. I don't have to hear the neighbors talk, whatever. And you slowly build up your equity through paying off your 30 or 25-year loan.
Sure.
And you had this feeling that I am now have a piece of stake in America, in my life. And we seem to have lost, temporarily I think, that whole concept of why did you buy in the first place, and why are Americans different than, say, most Europeans where they rent.
Mm-hmm.
And it is that capitalistic sense of ownership.
Mm-hmm.
So, were I talking to the first-time home buyer to ask if that couple of person really had that concept still in mind, and even if homes didn't depreciate, even if they depreciate a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
what other venue could you place used money in where you actually could consume it? Could you actually use it?
Mm-hmm.
You can consume in the car, what do you got at the end of that?
Right.
You know, got a nice,
Values go to
got a
zero
nice used
after,
car.
yeah, right.
You got a boat, what do you got after that? You got a nice anchor.
Mm-hmm.
And with a home, it's always appreciated until the last 24 months. And even it slightly depreciates as it has the last 24 months, again, so what? You're still much better off than you are buying these other consumer capital things. And if you buy stocks, what's going on in the stock market this year?
Right.
I know mine's lost 10%
Yeah.
again.
And a total crapshoot there.
And you're looking at a piece of paper. You want to buy
Right.
life insurance? Well, what are you going to do?
Well, not to mention, the thing is, we all need shelter, and why not have a place where you can decide what does happen to your property? If I put investments into it, I know in most cases, more than not, I'm gonna get that money back when I invest into my property. It is my own place. Not to mention the tax advantages you get when you own a house, that you don't get those kind of tax advantages from owning a boat or a car. So there's so many advantages to the home ownership process that many people look past, I think, in this marketplace because of the uncertainty or sense of it right now.
And of course, we're prejudiced.
Obviously.
And that's okay. So, one of the arguments people have, and we all want to do it, we did it with stocks, we do it with whatever it is that you want to buy at the lowest possible price, get the lowest possible interest rate, and homes are now going through what stock market has gone through forever, which is the ups and downs. And any seasoned stock person, stock investor will tell you, you never ever sell at peak, and you never ever buy at bottom, because
You don't know.
you don't know it had been bottom until the bottom is passed.
Right.
And you don't know when it peaked until the peak is passed. So we don't know what's going to happen. We can all sit here and speculate. We can all pretend we know, but none of us really know. Home price is going to go up and down. I mean, certainly you'd think they'd go up in spring, but who knows?
Mhm.
Same with interest rates. You'd think they'd go up, but who knows?
Mhm.
And so looking for that perfect apex of the pyramid of pricing and interest rates, it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
So we do know that interest rates are at incredibly low, almost historically low. We're talking 4%, 3.5%, 3.8%. That's incredible.
Absolutely.
And we're talking about depreciation of home prices, and especially in some of the areas that we'll be talking about in this and other shows, foreclosures, short sales, and so on and so forth. True bargains out there, but when they do a little paint and cleanup. And will this last? I don't know.
Right.
We know what theoretically the inventory of foreclosed homes is, but we don't know how they're going to dribble out and how it's going to play out. We do know this, that if you're thinking of buying in the next 2-3 years, this is the time.
Absolutely.
That I can say.
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, the buys that are out there right now throughout pretty much any marketplace, certainly in Dane County, in the state of Wisconsin, there's opportunities out there. Are there pockets that have really held strong value still? Of course, and that's why we constantly go back to that real estate's localized and talk to your local professional for those those details. But there are opportunities out there, whether they're a foreclosed home. Interest rates are extremely low, so buying opportunities are great. And it kind of is the perfect storm a little bit if you're a buyer in that scenario right now.
Well, it's sort of interesting that 5 years ago, a realtor would show a buyer maybe 6 homes,
Mm-hmm.
and they'd probably make an offer on 2 of them. Today, could show them 60. There's no sense of urgency to do anything.
Well, and that's what we've talked to our agents about, is
Right.
the lack of the takeaway isn't
Right.
there, because a buyer used to say 5 years ago, well, if I don't do something now, I might lose this property.
Right.
There's a little bit of that uncertainty right now. They go, well, there's 40 other homes out there.
Well, you're right.
Maybe I'll start looking around more.
So one of the interesting side effects is what you just alluded to, which is that realtors themselves, ourselves, sometimes get sucked into this whole, not, not yet, take your time, whatever, they wanna be pushy and whatever. So we kinda buy into this whole concept of people looking, looking, and looking. Said to one of our agents the other day, you know, it's nice that you've shown these people 60 homes, but don't they have something else to do? Like, do I really wanna ride around in the car with you forever? Can't you at least make a decision to move on? Right? Go do something. So that's part of it also, which is you get caught in that morass of indecisiveness and procrastination, where you got one foot in the market, one foot out of the market, and better off getting out of the market.
Well, absolutely, and in some of those scenarios too, we've seen as of recent where they do say, well, there's 30 other properties I'm gonna look, and those first 5 houses they looked at, those are the ones they really liked, and there was that one out of those first that they really loved, and you know what, they did end up losing it, because sellers know right now, and banks are taking the same approach, they're pricing the properties to sell. So once they're priced right, and then all of a sudden they say, wow, that's a great buy, Mr. Seller, this is a great buy, I'm gonna purchase this property, they lose out on it. So although it seems maybe that there's a lot of properties on the market and I can wait around, you still have a chance of losing those homes.
It is true that often the first offer a seller gets on a home is the best, and it's often true the first home a buyer looks at from a good professional, because a good professional has hopefully listened to everything the buyer wanted, has culled through the marketplace and found the home that best suited what the buyer said they wanted, maybe the best for them. But hey, that's all right, this is really good, so this is so good, there must be, 20, 30 others out here.
They're not the same.
Or you want to get the deal on that one. Right. We're going to go to break in a minute here, but when we get back, we can talk more about that and about the whole psychology of how we as agents and the buyers and sellers, how do we get people to act if it is in their best interest to act?
Well, the other thing I just want to make mention of is Waves to the Cameras, Bill. We're blogging this on our website, so anybody that wants to come check it out, you can go to www.century21affiliated.com and check out all our shows with the blog that we have on there.
That's great. We'll be back in a moment. Madison 1670, WTDY. Bill Kessler here with Dan Cruz. Real Estate Today, brought to you by Century 21 Affiliated.